Just one more for this marshmallow. I love this Quarry Search. The way you got to use the curly brackets for a whole array set comparatively to what the Quarry Search is here, or at least the nature of what this type of query would be. Sales data 1 and sales data 2, he's combining data in this case comparatively to what you'll do on a most rudimentary part where you're not necessarily dealing with people and their geological location. That's important, but it's important like in the three phase here. Um, because what A1 is to H8, it's usually where a lot of people are going to get wrecked in the equation about choosing a row of that information where, well, XY, the bars. Once this comes over and you have a full data set done, this is always going to be the A1 independent. It worked for me, A, but it didn't necessarily fill all the ways to define what I did, right? It was a bike ride, but I kind of half-assed it. I was way out of the time systems, and there's just outliers that are way unsmooth where I want to remove them from the system, and after I've done that, potentially have to put it on a data series where I can do that filtering thing. Um, on my finances, again, you're just kind of looking for something like this right here, as far as your P maxes and P minimums, relative to the value. Again, from outer space, it's a standard candle. I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, from the difference of black holes blinking out there at the market cap, that's a big number. That's a lot of zeros. That's a lot of money comparatively to one. And that is to say that one of the total mass of the black hole is worth this notation right here, which is subjective. Um, Because, right, A1, the A1 Torino, where I'm going to get this black hole or white hole in this case for Penrose, and everything torsioned around the black hole, which is these one, two, three, four, five pieces relative to these three pieces in one. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in itself. The whole unit is 10. These are too many in the two field for what, and I love just that kind of math. So that helps you get into the gravity, right? Because back to our marshmallow, just your workout or your CPI lines or anything under that model, we're gonna use to build. Go back in time here. A first basic data set, which doesn't necessarily serve all these functions, but it allows me to work the rudimentary part of the equation where, in a query set like this, the header is what is the sorting algorithm's result of the outlier, where instead separating out one becomes in a whole column or a row of information that subsets its model. And in this case, it would be your central limit theory here, a SU2, SU3 variance to SU3, SU4, where you might get some heat equation issues in both of those models. Hydrogen, helium 1, helium 2, well, hydrogen 1, hydrogen 2, as far as the second, durium and tritium, I think is what it is. I'm not protium and durium and tritium as far as isotopes. So that's essentially what you're looking at here. In the electricity, right, it's just coal, oil, gas, solar power, whatever H or A1, X, Y, and Z get you onto the doping nature of those chips. And they hook in, and we want them to be able to push their button. There we go. In one of those forms, where now that I've provided that form for them, and again, not all the forms, it would be people, their location, because later on when you survey all this data, it really gives you good insight on what the map is, and that's a fair ball because it's kind of a neutral securities fraud issue on, well, X, Y, and Z are pretty subjective to T as far as what it would be IT or FOR, FOR, the force of the De Broglie wave radius, and what did I say? I don't remember. I was making stuff up. Don't forget that this marshmallow is super critical. People are going to hit 3 big means off of it for sure, and Pauly says only 2 of them really exist, right? And therefore, what's going on in there is a whole series of things. Again, with your line, the more consistent you are, or the more prime you are to some kind of notation, where you give yourself those days, and that's a break. So you could even say rest day inside of here, because it becomes one of those functions. People don't like that. They don't use it. They don't touch the button in the correct way. Because here, again, you only have one option. If you're just straight gridding it, then you got to use some H stack or a flattening feature to, in whatever form that is, Quarry will do it. And here they're compiling it. They have subtle differences between terms. They're basically the same system with differences between terms that serve one side of the difference. And I love what 3B, 1B did with the squared circle. Oh, it was so good.